What's better than a 1 day winning streak? A 2 day winning streak. What's better than two? Three. What are we working on? Four. Last week's high on the radar. Folks, we're going to talk about perhaps one of the stupidest moves in the history of Wall Street. Both Dennis and I agreed on that separately on the pre-market show. Ratings, earnings, CrowdStrike, high bar. Like that bar was so high, it was never be able to clear it. Will they buy the dip on that one? We're going to talk commodities and tariffs at 8:35 with Al Kluis, Kluis Commodity Advisors and Managing Director of Commodities at Wedbush. Folks, we got a lot to cover today here on Pre-Market Prep and STN. Let's get the day started.
The volatility right now is really incredible.
Wow, look at that consolidation on the upper right chart.
You know what we've seen this earnings season? Some of these expected moves get even more violent. This is why I have switched my strategy 10 years ago. And if you're chasing, you're in trouble.
All right, the momentum continues from yesterday, up 13 handles, 59.94.50. Just a general look at your highs from last week in your stocks. The buck flat, 99.16. TLT perking up 21 cents, 85.22, trying to get away from that low of the move. Let's call it USO flat at 70, trying to sustain a bid there. GLD down not much, 51 cents, 308.40. SLV down 22 cents at 31.22. And Bitcoin, I think this is just stuck in a 105 handle here. We're down $1,050 at 105,800. Triple D, Wells Fargo.
Holy.
I mean, come on.
This was maybe, like you were saying, one of the dumbest moves that I have ever seen in my life. And you won't see it very quickly. You won't see it on the charts. And you could be like, oh, why, it's up $1.55. Why is this one of the dumbest moves? Because last night on this news, and we'll give you the news here right now, it had been known, that they had this asset cap put on like 8 years ago. And it was removed. So announced that the asset cap has been officially removed. And the Algos bought this stock from the close of 75.65 in 2 seconds up to over $85 last night. Wells Fargo traded $85 last night. Like, look at that. Like you see just the bar there, but it traded some size up there too,
85.
Joel. It traded some size. Like I saw like 10,000 shares traded at 82, another couple thousand up at 85, and then 84, and it swept out the whole thing. So what happens is we know the news algos are aggressive. And this is good news for the company. There's absolutely no doubt it's good news for the company. There's a lot of analysts, and we can talk about that itself. A lot of analysts giving positive commentary on it this morning. I don't think any of these analysts realize this trade up $10 on this last night. It was a crazy move. So I saw it and I was like, what's going on with Wells Fargo? And when I looked at it, it was trading at 81. And I'm like, well, that's a ridiculous move. And then I see the news and I'm like, really? I'm like, so I shorted it at 80.5. And then it started coming in. I always cover too soon. I covered in the 79. So it was a nice quick scalp on STN. But then Alan alerts me and says, Dennis, did you know it's traded up to 85? And I was like,
who alerted you in the STN room?
It was Alan from the STN room.
Thank you, Alan.
And then I looked, I'm like, oh my God, it did. I didn't even see that because it's such in a blink of an eye. It goes here. And then it was instantaneously back here because what happens is the algo comes in, sweeps out the entire buck. And then it's empty. There's nothing in it because they just took out the whole buck. So it trades, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 80, 45, all in like 3 seconds. Trades up to 85. Then there's nothing in here. And then it's immediately back down like 78. Then it started climbing because anybody who shorted it up there probably is like, oh, buy 79, it's 80 because they're making $5. So then it climbed up, and that's when I saw it as a human being at 80 to 81, and I thought that was overdone. And it was, and the stock's back down here in the 77 handle. But these news algos, are just absolutely crazy. And that's why we talk about like algos gone wild. Like, I don't know who's running this, but just thinking about like they bought 10,000 shares at 82. And I don't know if it's more than one. Like, it could have just been one news algo. Like, they bought 10,000 shares at 82. What's 77? Just on that 10,000 share buy, they're down 50 G's. Well, they bought, another couple thousand up at 85 and 84 and 83. Like, it's safe to say they threw away a couple $100,000 on this really quickly. I don't know what to like. This isn't like some AI company. Like, Wells Fargo is a stock that trades 50 cents a dollar, like on an upgrade, it might trade up like $1, like tops. So again, this is good news, but it's not instantaneously good news. The company isn't worth like 12% more instantaneously. So I just wanted to cover, because I'm just, talking about, everybody thinks the algos are so smart. There are so many stupid algos out there. That's just the dumbest algo ever. Like you were saying, that's one of the dumbest moves I've ever seen. Buying Wells Fargo up 10 points on that headline instantaneously, because it was back at 78, 79, like instantaneously just throwing away 5-6 points. Crazy moves, man.
Well, there's a couple things here. And I want to turn this into a little bit of a teaching moment here, because we have all kinds of different listeners on the show. First of all, Wells Fargo is a thick stock, one of the thickest stocks on Wall Street. What do I mean by thick? That means volume. The daily volume on this thing is anywhere from 10 to 20 million shares, right? The average range on this stock is $1.50 a day, the non-day average trading range. So if you extrapolate range in volume in a regular session for that stock to go to 85 is impossible. It's absolutely impossible.
Unless it get taken over, a merger or something like that. That would be a 10-point move on Wells Fargo. So just crazy that these algos are programmed this aggressively. Like, they're so aggressive. And there's opportunities here as you as a human being. Like, we had a good discussion on this in the S10 room, and I want to share it here too. Like, we can cover news, and we're going to cover all the news here. Don't worry, guys. I mean, some people get, upset because we go on with Wells Fargo. But what we're trying to say is the algos are a little bit, like the algos gone. What's in the title of the show we said? Algos gone crazy? We're just seeing algorithmic action going crazy, and it's only going to get more interesting, because as AI comes into this market, it's going to be computers controlling the algos. Right now, you can say, oh yeah, well, algos are already in the market, but AI is not algos. Algos are just programmed from a human being. There's a human being behind that code. Wait till the AI starts coding and like instantaneously doing it all. I think you're going to see crazy moves all over the place once AI actually starts to come in and trade the markets, and that's coming. And as human beings, there's going to be huge opportunities. Like, I think about this, there's going to be some crazy moves, huge opportunities for you to take advantage of, just like Wells Fargo last night. This could become more common practice. So I think we're setting up that it's going to be really interesting the next 2 to 3 years as AI comes into this market and people are thinking it's going to be awesome. It's going to be a little bit wild at first too. There's going to be some good AI that comes in and is very good at what they do, but there's going to be some that just, do stupid things. Just, like going back to like, the flash crash when the algos were selling stocks at a penny. That wasn't AI. That's just the program just hitting the bid, and the best bid was a penny. But we're at a point here like where AI is coming into the stock market, and you're going to see more of these crazy moves. Now, I'm not saying that was AI last night. That's an algorithm that's just aggressive on a news headline. That was good for the stock. I mean, there's multiple analysts this morning talking about this Wells Fargo asset cap lift. We got JP Morgan. They're saying, it's good. They're saying KBW is positive on it. We've got Morgan Stanley. We expect Wells will raise its ROTC target of 15% to 15 to 17%. So there's 5-6 analysts commenting on it. So it's good news for the company. Even with all the positive analyst commentary this morning, though, it's up 2%. I mean, that makes sense. Maybe a little bit higher. It could go a little bit higher than this. But 85 instantaneously, that's just an overshoot. That's just algos gone wild. And I think you're seeing more and more algorithmic action where it's just the moves are wild, which brings us to core weave as well. Because
Just
the
want to say
core
one
weave
thing,
move,
Dennis. Dennis,
yeah.
two things. I mean, as far as the price action today, I mean, you just look for this. You could look for your size in the book, man. You know, there's going to be sizes 78. There's going to be sizes 78 and a half, sizes 79, tunned 80. I mean, I don't know if Wells Fargo will ever trade 85 again.
Well, that was
I
a new
mean,
all-time high. So it hit a
yeah,
new
over
all-time high after hours.
81.50. And I just want to make one final comment. We can move on from this. Is that those algos that are scooping up that stock at 82, Dennis, they're also automatically programmed to sell at 82.10, 82.20, 82.30, 82.40. Boom, it's in. Just they're scaling. It's in. The orders are in. So I don't know if, and then it just gets to the tipping point where, woohoo, I shouldn't have lifted those 84.50s. And then when it turns, and that's when you try it on the way
Well, and it
down.
turned
But
immediately. Like they sweep out the book. It's not even about like, being
there's
able to
no
get out and it's
bids.
trading actively up there. It's left every offer and then there's nothing. And then it's instantaneously back here. It's literally just pissed money away. Burning money, like the night debacle, like of 2012, where it was like just burning money. Some of these news algos are absolutely burning money, but the news and the algos themselves, and a lot of this is algorithmic action that we're seeing all the time. Like core weave moves are all algorithmic here now too, like the GameStop before. I mean, these are huge, crazy moves. It was up 27% yesterday. I thought the all-time high might be in. Wrong. Because it just blasted off and no looking back here yesterday. It's up another 8 points here today, and it's scary. You can't
Oh
short
my
rocket
gosh.
ships. I mean, when you're shorting rocket ships, it's a difficult game because who knows where these things top out. And when the algos, they don't care. And I always say fundamentals don't matter at all when story's hot. Well, story's hot still here. It's been hot ever since Nvidia disclosed they had a position, which we knew they had a position, but it didn't matter because the market doesn't price in anything. And, that was $66 a stock then. It was $158 2 weeks later, literally 2 weeks later. Like these are huge moves and a lot of it algorithmic driven. So, I mean, people are saying, oh, we don't trade after hours pre-market. A lot of these moves aren't happening after hours pre-market. Some of these moves are happening during the day. These are big moves. Like you don't see as violent moves because it's thicker during the day. Stocks are all thicker during the day. But man, like these core weave moves, like do a technical on that, Joel. How do you do it? How do you do a technical on
There's absolutely no.
CRWB?
I mean, for this right now, the only thing I can give you is someone made a little bit of a stand at 162, and that's it. That's the only thing I can give you. I couldn't tell you where to buy it if you want to try and sell it. 160. What is the? I mean, like it doesn't matter, but what's the PE on this thing now?
Oh, it doesn't even matter. Who knows? I don't even know if it makes money. I can go look. I'm not sure it makes money. They have sales though. Some of these companies don't even have sales that are having these moves. CoreWeave. Yeah, no, it doesn't make money. It's trading 25 times sales. 25 times sales. It's not 25 times earnings, 25 times sales. So
And even if you don't trade after hours or pre-market, it's information. It's information that may help you during the regular session. That's all you don't. You don't have to have necessarily make a trade or do things, but just having the information available may be able to help you, from the after hours. I mean,
it's a
it's
great point.
information.
Yeah, we started pre-market prep because nobody was covering the after hours and pre-market action because they didn't deem it important. But I would say you look at Wells Fargo right now at 77.50, you're like, oh, maybe this is a little overdone. It's not overdone. Not here. Like I almost feel like going along it because I think like there could be actually a little more gas in the tank because of everybody else that just bought this, this algo that bought this thing up there last night. Some people sold it up there and they're probably looking to rebuy their shares.
Brent, could you bring us in with the numbers here? We just moved a little bit lower.
ADP.
What is it? Yeah.
ADP is light. May ADP 37,000 versus estimates of 110,000. So ADP is light. We are leaking just a little smidgen here.
Yeah. I mean, just concentrating on last week's high 6008 in the S&Ps. You got a little bit above yesterday's high in the pre-market, but we'll see as long as we stay green, right? That's we're headed north. All right.
Well, it's hard. So overall market talk, and we can go into core, we can go into this. This is all just indicative of bull markets. Like all of this action happens in bull markets, and we continue to be in a bull market. You continue to see that every single dip gets bought, no matter what the dip is. Yesterday, we got a dip. I don't even remember. Oh, because OECD downgraded, and everybody's like, "Oh, the morning. Oh, Europe's like downgrading us." I was like, "This is dumb. They're probably going to buy back." They did, and they ripped it higher. So, I mean, that was just, a dumb sell-off. But the ones on China feel like they should be selling off. Like last night, just flying under the radar, Trump tweets out at 2 a.m. because he doesn't sleep, is that this Xi, I like this guy, but he's very hard to deal with. I was telling you, there's no deal coming for China whatsoever. Market doesn't care. We're in a bull market. Who cares? We don't need to deal with China. We don't need China. We got bull market here. That's where the market is. This market is climbing the complete wall of worry. It's why I continue to say that we are going to hit new all-time highs. That is what I continue to say. I'm staying in that camp, doing all my bullish strategies, having a great month again so far, because you know what? I want to be bearish. There's a lot of reasons to be bearish. I think the second half is going to get ugly. But there's a full month here before we even think about the second half. And I think the bulls are still in complete control. I know the bulls are in complete control. You're seeing, speculative action when stocks like CoreWeave flying up 27% and buying Wells Fargo up 12% on a headline last night. And you get stocks like this MCTR, which, we don't usually cover the small little stocks, but this was a $6 stock. I don't even know what the headline is on this thing, but it was up 600% yesterday or something, or 700% yesterday. CTRL Group already traded 1.6 million shares. I looked at it like 10 minutes ago, it was 36. Now it's 46. I mean, there's wild, algorithmic, speculative action happening everywhere right now. This is all just speculation gone wild to a certain extent. People just like, give me it. I got to buy this. I got to buy this. Give me in that. Oh, yeah, I'll chase that. I got to get in that. That $46 stock's going to go to 90. I'm going to get in that. And then there's a rug pull, inevitable rug pull with, what was it, SBET, which we talked about on this show, and it was like 90 or 100 and went to 120. It's back at 50. It's 60 this morning. The rug pulls happen, but you won't hear about anybody on X that lost their money in SBET. You'll only hear the people that make. So, it's good to see the fool-like fallacy that everybody's making money except me. I better chase all this stuff. And then you lose, and then you're silent in the background because you're embarrassed that you lost on it. That's X.
Okay. All right. You want to talk about your buddy at all, Elon and Trump?
We can. So there's a fallout here, which is obviously was somewhat predictable, but definitely more of a fallout here lately. He's not attacking Trump himself, but definitely distancing himself from the Trump administration. Tweets last night, tweets yesterday, this massive, outrageous, pork-filled congressional spending bill is a disgusting abomination. That was an Elon Musk tweet. That is a complete attack on the Trump administration. So, I mean, here he is getting an award last week, and now he's just full on like unloading here. Not against Trump. He never says something directly against Trump, but saying the bill is, brutal, basically. Like, I mean, I don't know how I could even say it better. The massive, outrageous, pork-filled congressional spending bill is a disgusting abomination. That's a Trump bill. So, this fallout is happening quickly here now. I'd imagine, I don't know if Musk is going to say something directly against Trump. I don't think he will. I wouldn't surprise me if Trump says something against Musk. Like, Trump doesn't care. So this fallout is real. People are asking, what does that mean for Tesla stock? I don't know if it means anything at this point in time. I mean, Tesla stock is just so disconnected from all fundamentals right now because it's driven on the story of humanoids and full self-drive and robotaxi. I mean, the China sales were down overnight again, 14% or something year over year, and the stock goes up. So stock goes up on bad numbers. It just doesn't care about any numbers right now. It's looking to the future. They could just, basically start losing money. I think the stock's still going to keep going up. So I don't know what brings Tesla stock down, but that fallout between Musk and Trump is real. Interesting. I mean, best friends, besties, for the last few months here, and it looks like it's turning a little bit south.
All right. I actually just going real quickly to Tesla. I gave a level yesterday, and I said all these low, or it was 2 days ago. All these lows here at the 332, 333 area. I mean, that's just key. I mean, the bulls are in full control here of this stock as long as it holds these lows, right? And if you're looking for more, then you got to, bust above this 367. But let's move on. We got to cover some earnings here, and you talk about a high bar, a bar that is above the clouds, and that's what you had for CrowdStrike.
Yeah.
CrowdStrike, what do they do here? I'm looking for their report. I see their sees Q. I see the financial results. Hmm. Ending surpasses 4.4 billion. Q2 adjusted EPS, a little bit lower. Sales a little bit lower. So the
But the
guidance
full year they see good. They actually raised 2026. So actually, sorry, that's
6.
next
Yeah.
year. So there's a little bit light this year and then next year. They also proved a $1 billion
Let's
buyback. There's
take
been a
it,
lot
man.
of,
What's going on now? What's going on now?
well, they're
What's going
talking
on now?
the ADP. We're still leaking from the ADP report here. We
I
started
turned
leaking
my
and we
head. We
never
drop 8
stopped
handles.
leaking.
Oh,
Yeah, we never stopped leaking from the ADP report.
really? I got to
Yeah, really.
shit. Oops.
But what are you long?
No, I'm not, but I mean, any opportunity to short this market, I mean, but all
It's
right, we'll
been
see.
every sell-off gets bought. I mean, I'm
Not
at a
this
point
one.
where
Not this one.
it's this is the top. Joel is calling the top officially here on
No, I'm
PreMarket Bet for
not.
the
I'm not
18th
calling the
time.
top. I've called too many tops.
It's
No
so
way.
hard.
4 tops.
Calling tops is just a tough business. Although
I'll
I
tell you
did
right
call that
now,
top yesterday in CEG. I don't,
we did.
I don't often get it perfectly, but I absolutely got it perfectly yesterday. I said 352 where it was trading the
Oh
pre-market
man.
perfectly coincides with the old all-time high at 352. And I'm like, this is a kind of story that could like turn south, like could give it back. Like it's like the upside capitulation I said running on the news, and it's the kind of tape, and you've seen it before. You've seen it, where the stock runs, gets a good headline, everybody gets in and suckers them all in. Complete reversal yesterday, closes on the lows. It's down another 10 points here again today. So it's caught all these people by surprise. And the funny thing is with Constellation Energy and all the nuclear trades getting nuked yesterday, do you know where that money went to? The
Oh,
money
I
that came out
know.
of the nukes, that came out of Oklo, that came out of NNE, that came out of CEG, that came out of VST actually held up pretty well. I was just looking at that one. But all this money that came out of, some of these over, bought SMRs, another one, nuclear trades. Do you know where it went? Does anybody know where it went? I know where it went.
It
It went
went
into
where our
solar.
guest on Monday told us.
It went into solar.
Yeah.
First Solar had a day, man. TAN was having a good day. ENPH, SEDG, all having a good day. Which brings me and leads me to the question, why is solar not an AI play? If nuclear, and we're going to need all this energy, if nuclear is the biggest AI play ever, why are they leaving solar? Because it's expensive? Yeah, it's more expensive. But you know what? It's sustainable. Yet Elon Musk tweeting yesterday, and not a coincidence that solar probably had a day, that he thinks 10 years from now, it's from Elon Musk, not from my mouth, 10 years from now, almost 100% of our energy is going to be from solar. I think Musk is always aggressive with his timelines, but I think he could be right like 30 or 40 years from now because, fossil fuels, aren't, unless we start mining asteroids, which maybe we'll do that. But we know solar is sustainable. It's really expensive. But I'm just asking that question. Why is solar not an AI play? So I actually bought some First Solar. Bought some First Solar in the long-term account. Why did I do First Solar? Because SED and DG and ESPH are an absolute mess.
It's a best in breed.
I'm going to best in breed.
Yep.
It had a nice key reversal yesterday for solar. Got hammered down, reversed yesterday, closed on the highs. Exact opposite of CEG. It was the exact opposite tape. I think eventually people are going to start thinking of solar as an AI play too. I don't know when that starts, but I think eventually they start to think about it as an AI play. I think it's an AI play. Maybe it's not the cheapest energy source now, but it's sustainable. And eventually we're going to need energy from all kinds of different sources. So I find it like very interesting that solar is just, just destroyed and destroyed. And again, the administration's a little bit to do with that. It's not about clean energy.
Yes. Yep.
So, I mean, that's a headwind for solar for sure. But there's a lot of bad news priced in. I mean, when you look at a First Solar and it's trading 11 times earnings, and then you can go to the nuclear trades and they're just trading, in astronomical multiples. There may be a place where solar starts to look attractive in a long-term portfolio. And I put some in mind. First Solar.
Do you remember? I know you hate quizzes, but do you remember the stock that Elon acquired? He had this is an easy one for you. There was a
Solar
solar
City.
stock. Yeah.
Solar City. Well, it's his own company. He acquired his own company, which is so interesting too. He owned Solar City and then he bought his own company. That's always interesting when stuff like that happens. So, yeah, we were challenging that deal a little bit, back. But again, Tesla's into everything. I mean, when you look at where Tesla is, it's into everything. It's into solar. It's into EV. Obviously, it's the EV company. Humanoids, power generation. It's also apparently now into drones, because Morgan Stanley's got to know Tesla drones are coming. I'm like, that's cool too. They're into a lot of cool stuff. So I will give you the Tesla story. I'm still long it. Even though the fundamentals in the cars, it seems ridiculous at 180 times earnings. I get why. Now I'm not long it like I was, but I think if it dips back down, I'd get more long, just for the simple reason is they're into everything that they need to be. There's probably no company positioned better for physical AI than Tesla. Probably no company positioned better for physical AI than Tesla. It is going to be the physical AI company, from self-driving cars to humanoids to self-driving drones to self-driving semis. Like physical AI, Tesla is the company for physical AI.
All right. I don't know how Asana traded 22.82. They did
This is
beat.
the market.
They beat.
That's the news
They,
algo.
they
We need to
beat
come up
5
with a
cents
fade
versus
news
2 cents.
algo.
187.27 versus 185.4. Guidance, not good guidance. Lower at 26. And I know I've said this 1,000 times before, but we had this. We used this back at Benzinga. Well, I used it for like 2 days. I used to call it Asana. It was, Dennis. This platform would absolutely drive you crazy.
You don't like
It
Asana.
it tries to make you organized.
Yeah, I'm unorganized.
Yeah.
I'm organized chaos.
High bar, Asana, trading on the lows of the pre-market session. Step down seller here. You're coming into a moving average 50-day here. I mean, I can't sell it here. If you wanted to own this, this is back. Let's see if it gets. I think if it gets near 1636 was the low, and then I don't know. I'll throw out, if you really think this thing's going to continue to get crushed, then look for 16. I don't think that it's going to get to 16 today, but you never know. So that's Asana. Um, Dollar Tree and Dollar General, they just don't always go in the same direction. Like the cloud stocks, they kind of do, but Dollar Tree with their report today, they beat 126, 121. Sales beat 4.64, 4.53. Net sales better. I mean, guidance. Oh, where is the guidance? Wow, you could drive a truck through that. 5 to 550, and they were, I don't know, 515 to 565 versus 521. That's not bad guidance here, Dennis. Too high of a bar for Dollar Tree?
Yeah, and Dollar General set the bar higher. So what I've said for a long time, it's all about the bar. You could start a hedge fund just on the bar. Like, we short stocks that are at the highs, we buy stocks at the lows that are into earnings because of the bar. When Dollar General blasts off 15 points and Dollar Tree reports the next day, it's now set the bar higher for Dollar Tree. It's like, oh, Dollar General way up, and Dollar Tree rallied already on the earnings. So it ran $6 into the report because of Dollar General. It better blow it away, because you already just set the bar so much higher. You rarely see a company report and run on somebody else's report and then the next day reports. Like Home Depot Lowe's is the same thing. Home Depot reports first, and runs and gaps up and Lowe's goes up with it, it seems like almost always Lowe's disappoints on their earnings because they've set the bar so much higher. The earnings were fine at Dollar Tree. Fine. They actually were good. They raised guidance, but the bar was set too high the day before by Dollar General. This earnings season has been all about the bar. Nothing else has mattered. The physical numbers haven't even mattered. It's been all about expectations, and maybe it always is about expectations. Next. Joel's on mute. He has to do it once a show. It's his trademark.
If I'm not on mute when I drink water, you say, "Oh, I can hear you sleeping water."
I'll unmute it when you get done drinking the water.
Oh man. Well, it's been it's been 31 minutes before you got on my nerves. So
I know I've been nice to you all morning. I wasn't mean once. Now I'm mean. Mean Canadian.
Oh, look at this. This is this one was a nice setup. I gave it the STN room. We're looking at it. I mean, it went through 18 here. I don't even care if we can give the earnings, but that was a wall there at 18, and it took it out. Buy momentum. Dennis, were you able to lift any 18s when you saw HPE? Boy, oh boy, 38 versus 33. Sales beat 763, 7.50. That is this the cartridges or is this the other part of the company?
I get it confused. HPQ is the PC maker. The HP is like the services business. So yeah. So think of HPQ
I tell you,
like
don't sign up for the monthly cartridge plan. I have, I don't know, and I cancel and then rerun low and then lease it. And I mean, I must have, I don't know, 5 black and 8 tricolor cartridges, and I don't know. But anyways, nice move. You know what? Is there paper at 19, Dennis? There's someone sneaky out there at 19 because you had a double top up here. If you're buying this thing off the hop, you want to see a 19 bid in size. If this thing's open 19 and then goes up to the pre-market high at 1907, yeah, and then turns around, comes back down through the open. I mean, yeah, I don't think you're going to touch the top of yesterday's range. That was 1777.
It has not been the market to chase stocks, and though again,
not this one.
I know we've been in a bull, but for the last 2 weeks we've been talking about this. It has turned. Fade trade is happening, and even despite this bull market really picking up steam through April and the early part of May, we've kind of went nowhere for about 2 weeks, which I think we're building a base to go higher. But it's been choppy in here, and when you're in a choppy market, you don't want to be chasing stocks up 10, 15%, unless they're like that MC, whatever the hell that stock was yesterday, MCTR, which goes up 600%. But, that's a joke. But I mean, in this market, it really hasn't been paying to chase these earnings moves. We've seen some violent reversals. We actually haven't seen, and going back to CrowdStrike just for a second, because I wanted to comment on this too. Like we saw Okta report earnings. It disappointed. It has continued to leak. There's been no bounce really at all in Okta. Because people were asking me last night, are you going to buy the CrowdStrike dip? And I'm like, well, Okta is telling me not to. Because Okta has not that Okta and Crowd are the exact, but they're both cybersecurity. Crowd's still best of breed. But with Okta still leaking and that dip not getting bought, it makes me hesitant to just blindly come in and buy the CrowdStrike dip. So I know last night they were saying us on Fast Money that they were all going to buy the CrowdStrike dip, and it went from 455 up to like 462 because they were talking about it on Fast Money like that. But it's now down at 450. I think we're just, and again, this stock, think about where we were and where we've come from. It's $300 in April. So, I mean, is 450 even really a dip? It's a good level. Like, it's a breakout level. It's a technical level. I get all that. But, I always want to look to other stocks for evidence of what to do. So I think when I'm looking here that, the Okta dip did not get bought, makes me hesitant to buy the CrowdStrike dip.
The Palo Alto dip did get bought.
But that was a long time ago, Joel. That was 2 weeks ago when we were buying the dip. So it's a fantastic point because it did. But 2 weeks ago, they were buying every dip. In the last week, they're not doing it. So you got to always be adjusting and changing your strategy. I mean, buy the dip over the long term works. Like, the market's trend higher. But there are moments in time, we got a guest coming up, but there are moments in time where buy the dip works better as a trader, investing hat off, trading hat on. You've got to always be looking at recent evidence. 2 weeks ago is an eternity ago for trading. Who cares what happens 2 weeks ago? In this market in the last few days, the last week, we're not seeing as much dip buying as we were seeing before. We're starting to see stocks not get bought on the dip, which, is a concern that the rally is long in the tooth. We've come a long ways. So there's always going to be some stocks that get the dip bought, but I'm seeing, like 2 weeks ago, every dip was getting bought, no matter what it was. Now we see the S&Ps dip get bought. We see some stocks get bought, but we're seeing some stocks not get bought. That's a little bit different.
Okay. All right. Do we want to roll this intro?
Yeah, let's go. Brentster, give us the intro.
Good morning. We got Al Kluis here. Kluis Commodity Advisors is his primary firm, but he's also the managing director over there at Wedbush Securities, covering the commodities markets and the S&Ps. We're going to ask you about that, Al. Does a lot of charting by hand as well, but we're going to use our charts today. Al, how are you doing?
Very good, Joel. It's a beautiful spring morning here in Minnesota, and first time in quite a while we do not have the Canadian wildfire smoke, so it's a crystal clear day. Should be a great growing day for the crops.
All right, so give us just like your overall, like commodities and the markets and Trump and tariffs and all this thing. Just give us like you've been around the block a few times like me. Just give me your overall feel about the market.
How much time do we have, Joel? You got all day, or a lot to talk about? But we're the U.S. dollar moving lower has been beneficial for the commodities market. We tend to follow energy, and we trade weather. But the tariffs have created a lot of volatility. China, usually we become the supplier of last resort. That they, when possible, they're value buyers, but they'll buy out of Brazil and Argentina. And we haven't sold them many soybeans lately. It's been quite a while since we sold them corn. There is some optimism that we'll be selling them wheat in the future. But I think I'm getting a little impatient. We're waiting for some of these trade deals to be announced, and we've been waiting for them to be announced. And so far, we put together an agreement with Britain, and I don't think it really has a big impact on our ag markets. But India certainly could. Then Vietnam, South Korea, hopefully they fall in line. And I keep on hearing that maybe, just maybe, cross your fingers, Trump and Xi might talk later this week. But I think Xi wants to have a very scripted meeting with a set agenda and not the freewheeling type of meetings that Trump likes to have. So I'm hoping that they'll be able to get together and start talking, because we've got a big crop coming in the U.S. and we desperately need to get exports ramped up.
Yeah, so the on again, off again nature probably makes it really difficult to put the forecast together and do things. But let's just talk about the grains. Let's talk about them individually first. And first, we'll go to corn.
Corn has been moving lower. We have a pretty large crop coming in the U.S. In addition to that, you have a record safrinha double crop corn crop coming out of Brazil. In Brazil, they have such a long growing season. They plant soybeans, and the day after they harvest the soybeans, they plant a shorter season, a 90-day corn, and they can still get 160 bushels per acre. Very good growing season. The rainy spell lasted longer than it usually does into the month, all the way into the month of May and June. So they've got a huge crop coming. Storage is going to be a problem. So from July on, the Brazilian quotes are quite a bit cheaper than the U.S. So we've been seeing decent exports, especially to exports, but the market has been trending lower. You have a potential double bottom at about 440. We hedged a lot of corn when May futures got up above 508 back in January and February, and all those hedges look pretty good.
Wow.
We have about 30% of the new crop corn hedged ahead, right up at about average of 470. And I wish we had more, but those hedges look good. But that's the business we're in. I do a lot of hand-drawn charts, like you said. I had some pretty good sell signals. Also, there's a lot of times in early May as a seasonal trader. I don't care how bad the weather is, how bullish the weather forecasts are. You've just got to be willing to look at the long-term seasonal odds. Put your hedges on the old crop, put some hedges on the new crop. And for 30% hedged ahead at 470, My biggest worry is where are we going to get the last 70% sold?
Beans in the teens. Let's talk soybeans and also bringing in the crop. The Brazilian and Argentinian crops. What's your outlook? Soybeans chart looks a little bit better. I mean, at least it's off its April lows.
Yeah, we're seeing really good support. Basically, it looks like big M's and W's on there. When I look at the weekly and monthly charts, around 1040, we've been seeing pretty good support. If we get up in the area of 1080 to 11, that's where we need to be making sales. Longer term, when I look at U.S. acreage, I think we'll get a planted acreage report at the end of June, and I think that's going to show more than 96 million acres of corn and probably only 82 million acres of soybeans. That's going to be the lowest planted U.S. soybean acreage since, I believe, 2016. USDA also is using a very unrealistic expectation, 52.5 bushel per acre, and that would be an all-time record. Our weather so far is not conducive to having a record soybean yield. So for multiple reasons, I'm very much longer-term bullish on the soybean market. We do have about 80% of the cash crop sold at a good price. We have 20% of the new crop soybeans sold ahead, but I am much, much more nervous on the outlook for the corn market than I am for the soybean market.
All right, and let's finish it off with wheat.
Wheat, the lower dollar has made us more competitive, but it seems like whatever price we put in the export terminals to sell wheat out of both Russia, Ukraine, Romania, all being sold lower than us into the major markets in the Middle East. So the wheat market's just been in a grinding bear market. I look for eventually the September and December contracts to drop down to where the July is trading. So I'm not optimistic on wheat until we get beyond the winter wheat harvest. We are seeing some potential weather problems in the Dakotas, Western Canada. Longer term, I'm optimistic on spring wheat prices. I think long spring wheat, short Chicago wheat is a good long-term spread trade. But the wheat market, I think the United States now is down to where we only represent about 11 or 12% of the global wheat production. So when I'm looking at wheat and looking at fundamentals, I really have to look more overseas than what we're seeing in the US or Canada.
All right, so let's just talk about the farmers out there, right? And they cast their vote back in November based on certain expectations, right? Tariffs are definitely, day to day points out, tariffs are having an impact on input cost, fertilizer. So how are the farmers doing out there? Are they happy? I mean, I'm looking at. I mean, if you had some of this stuff when you talked about it, you're doing okay. But overall, what's the move of the farmers?
Well, they're still philosophically aligned with Trump. That's who they voted for, the vast majority of them. But there's a little bit of financial concern and worry starting to come in. When I look at December corn prices right now, 443, we take off a normal basis that we'd have in the Western Corn Belt. You've got $4 corn. For most people, that's farmers, depending on their equity, that's $150 per acre loss. For soybeans, when you look at new crop November beans, last trade at 1026, a cash price probably of about 980 a bushel. Oh man, that's about an $80 or $100 per acre loss. So we're seeing some very much. We're starting to see a slowdown in land sales. We're starting to see a collapse in used machinery value. Some of those people are really struggling to find bank financing. So how do you raise cash? You got to pay your seed bill. You have to pay some other bills. You sell off a tractor or combine you may not need, or maybe you'll lease it back to generate some cash for operating needs. So agriculture prices, profits are always cyclical, but right now this is looking like 2025, 2026 could be a struggle to maintain profitability.
Yeah,
what's the impact of tariffs here,
Oh.
Al? Like talk that on the farmers. Like how do tariffs impact the farmers here?
Well, two ways. First of all, you're seeing a lower futures market that I think that the tariffs have really had a big impact on soybean prices, especially. current fundamentals, instead of seeing 1050 beans, we should be seeing 1250 beans. So lower futures price, higher input cost. We're seeing a flood of what's called used cooking oil coming in from China, and it's a scam. It's basically palm oil that they're blending a little bit of grease into it, and that's got U.S. soybean oil prices trading down at 45 cents a pound. 2 years ago, we were at 90 cents a pound. And so just the scam, letting all of that used cooking oil come in, has been pretty devastating to the U.S. soybean oil market, U.S. soybean futures. And so right now, it's a tough situation where when you've got low futures price, higher input cost, higher interest rates, it's like a vice grip.
So what do you tell the farmers now? I mean, if you had these hedges on, do you lift the hedges? Do you turn around and buy more futures or ETFs? I mean, every farmer is in a different situation, of course, but what's over advice you're giving them?
Right now, I'm not going to sell anything. In the U.S., we have what's called revenue protection crop insurance, and that's at a low enough price level right now where frustrating to watch the markets go down, but financially, you're just going to get a bigger indemnity check from the insurance company. So selling ahead below your cost of production usually has not worked. I'm usually not been one to trade in and out of hedges. Usually, it's good in theory. In reality, usually farmers are not that successful at it. So I'm thinking long term that storage will really pay off. If we have, I think corn is my biggest concern. I would consider a rally back to 450 December corn, possibly buying some 420 or 430 puts, that type of thing. Ahead of the USDA planted acreage report on June 30, I think we'll be pretty active in buying either short dated or full dated put spreads, getting those in place. Wheat, I'm waiting to buy wheat calls, but I think I'll wait till the first week of July. So very much from a seasonal standpoint, I'm concerned about lower prices, but at the current price level, I'm not going to hit the panic button. If people are really nervous about it, we'll look at some put strategies.
And do you have a target for the S&P based on your chart this year? I see you taking a look at it there.
Yeah, I'm the trend is up, and I just heard the other guest talking about that. I think you don't know when you're going to get a 5 or 7% break when you're at these lofty levels, because you don't know what's going to come out of Washington next. But yeah, I still think the trend is higher. And looking at the S&P currently 59.78, I think we can run up to 61 or 62.
That's all-time highs. That's what Dennis has been calling for. Kluis Commodity Advisors, also the managing director of commodities over there at Wedbush Securities, joining us here on Pre-Market Prep. Al, always great to talk to you. We're going to dial you up again real soon. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for the call, Joel. Dennis, nice to see you.
Thanks, Al.
All right. That is nice guest, unlike the host of the show.
It's just such a good, we've got to get into the commodity talk every once in a while. I know a lot of our traders don't trade commodities, but it's, it just gives you a feel of a broader scope of the markets here. So Al did a great job with that today too, just giving us a feel for what's a farmer? How's it going out there? What's tariffs happening? So, I mean, tariffs are impacting farmers as well. So there's, a lot of impacts. I've been talking about tariffs, coming for the second half. I think we're going to start feeling the impacts a lot more in the second half. But like I said,
I agree.
Second half still a month away, and we're in full bull mode here. So I like the idea of new all-time highs and then pull the rug out in the second half. I think that's what punish the maximum amount of participants, which is what the market likes to do. Ratings parade, Joe. Ratings parade here today. So the analysts were busy here, and we got the biggest note of the day is from Laura Martin at Needham. She is downgrading. Good old
Laura. Apple. How's Laura doing?
She's doing okay. Downgrading Apple from buy to hold. We downgrade Apple to hold based on fundamentals. We lower estimates based on threats to Apple's near-term revenue and EPS growth. Competition, period. One word, competition. Big tech competitor wants to take Apple's 15 to 30% platform tax. They talk just going down deeper in the note. Apple trades at a forward PE of 26 times, which looks expensive on several metrics. What would make us more positive? We believe that for the stock to work, it must have the catalyst of an iPhone replacement cycle, which we do not foresee in the next 12 months. Until then, we believe that 170 to 180 is a better entry level. So they tell you to hold it, but she thinks it's going down to 170 to 180. It's actually a pretty bearish note. It's only down 86 cents because, oh, she didn't say sell, she said hold. But when you're looking at 170 to 180, sure sounds like a sell to me. I think this one's flying under the radar here this morning. There hasn't been a lot of talk on it because, again, it's just a hold. But this is one that could catch some steam here too. I'm actually interested in possibly shorting this name.
Blah. It's blah. I mean, the chart, I mean, can't get excited about buying it. And I mean, there's clear resistance here above 210. You're ways away from that. Do see some daily lows in this area, way off the low of the move. It participated in part of the rally, but I just think, I mean, tariffs. I mean, if you talk about one U.S. company that could be more affected by tariffs, yeah, I mean, I
There's
take
headwinds all over the place here for Apple, and it's not cheap. That's why I've been off the Apple bandwagon for a while, though, and wrong. I sold my stock at 180, and it went to 250, and it's come off, and then went down to 170 on the tariff tantrum. Has come back quite a ways, but hasn't rallied back as much as some of the other Magnificent Seven. And the reason for that is you're citing it, Joel, is that this is in the tariff storm. This is a stock that could get hit. I mean, Trump is out for Apple, like to a certain extent. Like, he's sitting there and saying, you're going to make these iPhones over here or we're going to tariff the hell out of them. He has said it already. So iPhone costs will go up tremendously. So can they eat some of that? Yeah, but that's not going to make shareholders happy because the margins would go down. So if Trump is serious about iPhones being produced in the USA, Apple shares go a lot lower.
All right, one of our Sharpies. Yep. One of the Sharpies in the STN rooms. Do we have news on the hood, Robinhood?
I don't know. Do we?
I don't know.
It wasn't on the radar. Joel's taking me away from ratings here for a second.
Well, I mean, there's a 3-minute move. Isn't one of your filters going off? No?
I don't see the Robinhood news, but I can go look. I'm doing a live show here right now, so I'm digging here live because you just took us somewhere I didn't expect to go. Brentster, I have no news on Robinhood here right now.
Yeah, I don't see a press release. I don't see an SEC filing. There could be a report out there. I'm standing by for.
There's got to be something though. It's a good call, Joel. It's popping off here right now.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, dig. All right,
standing
let's
by.
go back.
Brent's digging in the background. Let's go back to the ratings spray. We will come back here in a second. Snowflake up to buy at UBS. Is this a chase? Yeah, it's a chase. Is this a stock that's been just running and flying and having a gap and go from earnings? Yes, as well. So Snowflake upgraded to buy at UBS. I can try to get some color on that note. Let's see if I can find the note. Momentum. Actually, Truist is not upgrading, but they are having a note as well that just came out. They said the momentum is poised to continue. UBS is upgrading to buy, pointing to improving customer sentiment and Snowflake's product expansion beyond its core data warehouse offering. Snowflake has executed better than we imagined, writes the analyst. So upgrading to buy Snowflake. Are you chasing this one, Joel?
I'd be more apt to buy if it came down to like 210, came back. I mean, is this a breakout? If this is a breakout and not a fake out, then this is going to come back down or never come back down to 210 if this is a truly chase breakout. But what I need to see, I need some bids. I need people willing to step up, not 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, make a 210 base there to move up. We are off the pre-market high. Target right now would be 217.05, so $3 off that pre-market low.
Okay, our own Christian Fromhertz, who is on vacation, has hunted down the Robinhood news. It is a B of A note. Robinhood is a prime candidate to join the S&P 500. Algos go wild when they just see this. This is an opinion. We do not know that Robinhood is indeed joining the S&P 500. It is an opinion that they are a prime candidate. Newsflash, they've been a prime candidate for a while here. They've been a prime candidate for a while. Actually, I think this note was yesterday. I'm not sure this is the catalyst here. Christian, I don't know if you're listening. I'm seeing
could be getting passed around. It could be that I got the
BofA research note from yesterday. Following our meeting, we view Hood as a prime candidate for the S&P 500 with the next rebalancing. So that was out yesterday. So that is not your catalyst. So I'm not sure what it is. Still trying to hunt down the Hood news.
And keep in mind that if this news is going to be announced by SP Global, we would get it at 5:15 p.m. Eastern time. It's always
Maybe people
at
are still
night.
speculating on that.
Yeah.
Did it just blast off, Joel? Has it been climbing all morning? I haven't been looking at Robinhood at all. Show me the chart.
It's been climbing, but not
Right
like
here.
the
Oh,
last
no, that's a
bar.
blast off. That's news. When you
Yeah.
see a move like
Yep.
that, that is news. So I see it, Joel.
So
That's
Dennis,
not
do
the
you have
news.
the
So we're still
time?
trying to
Do
dig
you
it.
have can you see the time when you have that note?
Of course. Oh,
No, it's yesterday, Brent, 10 hours ago. So it's
Okay,
not
gotcha.
that
Yeah,
note.
that's what I meant.
Dig,
Sorry.
8:52.
I just saw it, like I just dug it further, and that note was out 10 hours ago. So
Awesome, thank you.
what is the news right now? Chatter is saying, or EKS is saying there's chatter on Reddit about it. Maybe it's getting around. Maybe that note's making the rounds more than it was yesterday.
I think it could just be making the rounds. Yeah,
I think that could be it. Like we know from the news desk, Brent, that when you get these notes, they don't disseminate evenly across the platforms. They they break a note and then starts getting passed around.
Especially
but I still don't think that's the news, because that would be a big move, 3.5% move off the speculation of Bank of America thinks they're a prime candidate. Everybody thinks they're a prime candidate. I've been expecting Robinhood to get added for a long time. We've talked about them on our candidate list for a while here. I think they do get added. I think it's coming. I think they get added soon. So I think Bank of America is right. I don't think that's the catalyst right now, though. And then you automatically look at Bitcoin, but Bitcoin's going down. So that's not it.
And I did just double check the S&P Global, because S&P Global posts their changes to the indices on a website. It's always the same website. I did just double check it, and I don't see anything here this morning. So maybe this note just getting circulated now by some notable source, or maybe it's getting a little bit of a bump here.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, because we got multiple people. We got David Prince saying it too, prime candidate. So Christian saying that's the news. Multiple people are saying that's the news. This was out. I can see the note 10 hours ago.
There's the
I can see the note 10 hours ago. So I can't believe. I guess 10 hours ago we were all sleeping, but it just must be making the rounds here now. Shows how inefficient this market can be. Because 10 hours ago, the note came out. I'm looking at it here. Following our meeting, this was 10 hours ago. Following our meeting, we view HOOD as a prime candidate for the S&P 500 with the next rebalancing. We also view LNG, FLUT, VEEV, CVNA, ARES, and app Lovin as other top.
There you are. You just taking words right out of my mouth here. Yeah.
So this is a really good takeaway, though. This is, we think it looks like the stock is moving on this. This was out. People knew about this last night. People were potentially pricing this in last night. And to Dennis's point, this isn't surprising that we are expecting this company to go.
That's why I wonder if there's something
into
else.
Some major S&P. Yeah.
It's very inefficient. Well, this is the news, but we can see multiple people talking about this. Obviously, our own Christian Fromhertz mentioning it. David Prince, T3 connected. So it's making its rounds right now. So
you know what? It is? It's like some suits just got to their desk and they didn't open up their email from yesterday.
I think you're right. I'm going with something else.
I think there's something else too, Dennis. But I mean, whatever. Anyways, we just blasted off. We got a little giddy here. 74.68 is where you blasted off to at at 8:52. We all know the all-time high here, all-time high off that IPO at 85. That's like I'm not going to dig down on the weeklies on that one. So you're on your own, but there you
go. What about
the
bull? The wee bull. And they've talked about this, and I've tried to call bottom on this a couple of times unsuccessfully. Calling tops is a hard business, calling bottoms even a tougher business. But now we're in the 10. Where the SPACs come from is the $10 level here.
This is it
all back.
11? Wasn't this being pumped? This is being pumped in so many rooms. I heard of I've heard like all these.
Well, they're not pumping very well. It goes down every day.
But these rooms never take a loss. They never say we take a loss about it. But
I mean, at a certain point in time, like this is so just doing the comparison, Webull, which had no business ever being at $80 a share because it was worth almost as much as Robinhood at that price, which is the stupidest thing ever. So stupid this market is. But it's a $5 billion company here now. HOOD, comparatively, is $63 billion. So you're talking about a company that's like got the 7% of the market cap of Robinhood. So in other words, Robinhood's like 12 to 13 times more valuable. You know, you always compare, like Robinhood's definitely a way better, you know, position than Webull. Is there a play here eventually in the 10s for Webull? Maybe. I thought there was a play in the 11s or 12s and 13s, and this just continues to leak. So I don't know what turns this story around. Been a tough story. It just continues to leak. The death by 1,000 cuts, that's the worst trade to be in. It just goes down a little bit every day, and then you look at it a couple weeks later, like, whoa, it's $10. I don't know if I can get down and dirty in it. I've been burned a couple times in it, just taking losses on it. I'm like, I think I'm a 10 maybe, like the $10 whole number down another 80 cents from here, maybe. Just taking like trading shots at it, but I don't think the valuation's crazy though. $5 billion in Webull. I'm torn.
Weebulls wobble, but they don't fall down.
This one falls down a lot. It falls down every day. All right, that's it. 901.
901. Final thoughts, Triple D. Final thoughts.
I continue to be in the fade trade market to a certain extent. I still think we go higher overall, but not chasing moves. There's definitely speculation running rampant here. At a certain point in time, the market's going to start caring that Trump and Xi are not going to get a deal, but right now they don't. We're in full bull mode. I still think all-time highs by the end of the month.
Okay, I got several emails today. Just looked at it about STN, joining the STN room. So we are going to continue our coverage over there. There's the promo code. So love to see you guys guys and gals over there. For me, I mean, they bought the dip already. It's 74, the pre-market low. It's big. I mean, you could go to last week's high, but first thing you have to do is take out the pre-market high. Coming back on the downside, barring like a big Trump tweet, I think we just kind of trickle down and just try and settle in here. Maybe the next 2 days, today's Wednesday and Thursday, maybe a little position squaring ahead of the jobs data. Tomorrow, Jim Tassoni's going to join us, and he's going to give us his outlook on the market, technical, micro, macro, whatever. It's going to be Jim Tassoni. So, folks, thanks for joining us. Another great pre-market prep. We'll see you tomorrow.